Welcome back to another video. This one is a little bit different. It's actually laid back and I don't really have to think much about it, which is kind of nice, as today I'm going to be reacting to preseason predictions that we made before this past year's NBA season. We being me, Eric, all our mods, and then you guys, or at least our live stream chat if you were there. Before we jump into things, this video is sponsored by our Discord. I don't talk about our Discord much, but it's a great place to hang out, talk amongst each other. We had game threads all year, but then we have a bunch of threads for a bunch of different stuff. We got gaming threads. If you want to game, then I have threads for you and you can select a gaming role actually. But most of the conversation takes place in the general chat, in the general Discord, and it's just a great place for the community to hang out. Thank you to everyone who's been active in our Discord and making it good, but I'd love to get more people active in that, including myself. So go join our Discord, link in the description box below. Now let's jump into the video. So we're going to start off with standings predictions. This is a stream that we had on our second channel, Blazers Uprise Live. We're going to be streaming there all off-season Mondays and Thursdays, 9:30 p.m. Pacific time start time. But these are the standings for the Eastern Conference, and I plan on revealing them in tiers of 5. So it looks like everybody was a little bit low on Indiana, but also everybody was way too low on the New York Knicks, which they missed the play-in last year and didn't look to have done much in the offseason. They struck out on Donovan Mitchell. They did add Jalen Brunson, but Jalen Brunson was much better than anyone expected this season and catapulted that team to where they are now, a 5th seed going against the Cavs in the first round. Chat, you guys had Detroit at 10, which is very questionable. I don't remember what you guys were thinking in regards to that, but also Zach and Jackson had the Pistons in the play-in at least as well. So I don't remember people being high on the Pistons. It looked like Cade Cunningham, I guess, and Jaden Ivey was going to lead this team somewhere. Maybe we'll have to wait for next year to see that happen. Let's reveal the next 5 or so. It looked like pretty much everyone was right on the Hawks. They played their way into the 7th seed after being an 8 seed. Everyone was pretty much right on the Bulls as well. The Nets were hard to predict because the whole KD and Kyrie situation, didn't know if that was going to pop back up, and of course they got traded. I had the Magic at 10. I thought the Magic were going to be a sleeper team, and when they were healthy, they actually played at about a 500 level. They could just never get consistently healthy and had a terrible start to the season because of it. By the way, after this, I'm going to say which mod I think did best predicting each set of standings, and then we'll also look at awards, and then I'll say who I thought did the best job predicting this season. Let's just finish the rest here. We got Milwaukee as a 1 seed from 5 of us. Zach and Darryl went with the 76ers. Trevin went with the Celtics. Chat, you guys had the top 4 right, so you did do something right in these predictions with Milwaukee, Boston, Philadelphia, Cleveland. Everybody was a little too high on the Heat, except Eric had them as a 6 seed. They have to win a play-in game just to make the playoffs, so they kind of fell off after almost making the finals last season. Chat, you guys also had the Nets at 6, so good job there. If I had to pick who I thought did the best in these Eastern Conference standings predictions, I think I'd have to go with Chat actually, which is a bit surprising. Chat, you guys did a good job. In terms of the top 10 teams, you got 9 out of 10 right. Chicago in the 9-10 play-in, Atlanta in the 7-8 play-in. You were a little high on Toronto, a little high on Miami, but otherwise you guys were pretty spot on, so props. Now let's take a look at the Western Conference. We got to Portland here. Zach was the closest to being right on Portland. He didn't have them low enough. We thought Portland was going to be better this year, but not much better. We felt like 8-9 range was pretty accurate. Trevin and Zach both had the Mavericks at 9, and I remember feeling like that was a bit low, and I wasn't even high on the Mavericks, but the Mavericks, of course, missed the playoffs as well. We also weren't high on the Kings, except for Zach. Zach was most correct on the Kings and most correct on the Blazers, so I guess props to him. I don't really understand him having the Rockets above the Blazers. Meanwhile, OKC did better than anyone expected. Right now, it's looking like Zach was kind of spot on with these. Let's scroll through the rest. So it looked like Jackson, Aeromancer, and Eric were right with having the Nuggets as a 1 seed. I did not do well. I had the Clippers as a 1 seed. That obviously didn't pan out because they just could never get healthy. I had the Timberwolves as a 2 seed. People thought they were going to be a lot better after trading for Rudy Gobert. Jackson had them all the way down as a 9, so props to him. Warriors 3 3, Grizzlies 4, Suns 5 for me. Yeah, it was not good. Eric had the Suns all the way down in a play-in. They, of course, got the 4 seed. It's really hard to say who did well here because nobody did good projecting the top 6 or 7 teams. Zach did have the Lakers as a 7 seed. He was highest on the Lakers, and the Lakers ended up being a 7 seed. He did have the Kings the highest. He did have the Mavericks tied for the lowest, and he had the Blazers the lowest, so was the closest on all 4 of those teams. Also had the Timberwolves tied for the lowest. I might have to give it to Zach on this one. I mean, it's really hard because these predictions were overall a mess. But if you swap the Timberwolves with the Kings here, Zach's standings 1 through 9 are pretty accurate. I know the Mavericks were lower, but everybody expected them to at least make the play-in after making the conference finals last year. So yeah, shout out to Zach. Chat, you guys had the Timberwolves at 2 as well, and the Clippers at 1 as well. We are actually very similar. I don't know why I had the Nuggets at 6 now that I'm looking at it. Doesn't really make sense to me. I was too low on them for sure, but I'm definitely going to give that one to Zach. Here are our awards predictions. Chat, Connor, Eric went with Luka. That obviously didn't pan out. Everybody else went with Embiid. I went with Embiid. Jackson went with Giannis. I mean, Giannis can still win it, but I have a feeling that it's going to be Joel Embiid. Definitely won't be Luka Doncic. And now this is for 6th man of the year. A lot of people went with Jordan Poole, myself included. Zach went with Tyler Hero. Aeromancer went with Bones Highland, which didn't even come close to panning out, but I liked it as a bold pick. And Connor went with John Wall, which also didn't come close. I mean, none of us hit on this at all. A lot of these players didn't come close. I don't know who you would have as the favorite for the 6th man of the year award right now. Let me know down in the chat, but it's definitely probably none of these guys. Like, I know Jordan Poole put up stats off the bench, but he still started a good portion of the year, which kind of took him out of the running, but also he was just wildly inefficient. So even if he was off the bench the whole year, I don't think he deserved the award. I was a little surprised as to his regression in efficiency, especially playing on a good Golden State team. So we all kind of missed this one. So this was Rookie of the Year picks. I forgot I put that Sharp picture in for his picks. Arrow went with Keegan Murray, which probably isn't accurate. I went with Paulo. Eric went with Paulo. Trevin went with Paulo. Jackson went with Paulo. That's the right pick so far. So I like to think I got 2 of the 3 right. And then this is Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, I went with Gobert. Yikes. Eric, Trevin, Arrow went with Bam. Zach and Connor went with Embiid. I think Embiid's probably the closest to Defensive Player of the Year. But you got like Evan Mobley, Jaren Jackson Jr. getting a lot of votes. So I don't really know who to give this one to. Probably Zach or Connor. Chat, Giannis wasn't the best pick there. Not a bad pick, but not the best. So Zach and Connor with Embiid. How did they do before? Zach had Embiid as MVP, so he was on board the Embiid train. But he also had Sharp as Rookie of the Year. And Connor had Sharp as Rookie of the Year. So Connor's 1 for 3. Zach's 2 for 3. I think I'm 2 for 3. So Connor's 1 for 4. Zach's 2 for 4. I think I'm 2 for 4, just in terms of the best picks. Now let's look at most improved, because that's where it always gets interesting. I went with Rui Hachimura. That's not a great pick. So did Zach. Trevor went with Tyrese Halliburton, which I guess isn't a terrible pick. Connor went with DeJounte Murray, which absolutely made no sense. If anything, he regressed this year. Chat, you guys and Eric had pretty good picks in Jalen Brunson because he broke out this season. Otherwise, none of these picks were really legitimate. So 1 for Eric, 1 for Chat. And then this was Coach of the Year. I have no idea who this is going to go to. Now this is for scoring leader. Joel Embiid was the NBA's point per game scoring leader. Luka Doncic was 2nd. Dame was 3rd. 0.2 points behind Luka. Jackson going Ja Morant didn't really pan out. So everyone except for Eric and Jackson did pretty well on that one. And then as far as assist leaders went, James Harden was the right pick. Eric, Trevin, Chat, good job. I went with Darius Garland. That didn't really pan out. Tyrese Halliburton was not a bad pick at all by Aeromancer. He was very, very close to leading the league in assists per game, but didn't play enough games to qualify. I have no idea who did best on the awards picks. It was definitely hard to pick them this year. Anyway, let me know who you think did the best predicting this past year's NBA season. This is just a fun in-between video. Tomorrow we will have a Blazers Pulse episode. Yesterday I dropped the 46-minute season recap with stream highlights. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Got a lot of good feedback on that, so I'm glad that those of you who watched it seem to have enjoyed it. And once again, check out our Discord link in the description box below. I'm out of here. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.